Quick.
And we're officially live.
Officially.
Hey!
Woohoo!
Best
Welcome,
wishes from the
everybody.
surface of the sun. It's good times.
Oh yeah, look at that. Look at these
Hello.
numbers. 74, 84. Wow.
Everybody's jumping in.
Right.
I guess
Oh,
people might
snap.
want
Look at all
prizes
that.
or something.
Look at all that.
Right.
When you
How's
it
buy
going?
them,
Look at
you
those
show up at your
participants.
webinar, yeah.
Wow. Good
While
numbers.
we're waiting for everybody to join, if you want to go into the chat and let us know where you're tuning in from. Oh, we've already got
Amy back from Orange County. Amy, good to see you again, Amy.
Amy.
Yeah, look at all these. Tammy again on from
Woo!
Boston. Oh, Sean, I see Sean from Portland. Yeah, we've got a great group today.
There
And
was
let
that
us know the
Minnesota.
temperature where you're located, because we have a heat wave going on in Southern California.
Yeah.
Not great for those who are not used to 100+ degree weather. Good times. We're having some issues.
Casey, it's 85 here in Santa Monica, and I'm losing my
Casey
mind.
and I are not built for this kind of weather.
No, we're built for the Arctic. Okay.
Right. All
That's
this
fine.
handsome starts melting away,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like nobody's happy.
Oh my gosh, Clinton is like, it's 115 today in Phoenix.
Oh,
No, thank you.
No,
Yeah,
no.
but that's
No,
like
thank you.
your fault for living there.
Yeah.
Nobody's making you stay there.
You should be making cookies outside.
Right.
Which
It
I've
was
seen.
crazy. It got to 101 degrees here in San Diego County.
Wow.
No, absolutely not. No,
That's
not a fan.
Okay. That's not okay.
Not a fan.
Nope.
No. I actually remember that Simpsons episode where they open the refrigerator and they just have a camp out with the refrigerator open. Yeah, that was basically us yesterday.
He's just like open the refrigerator and just like
I just put a
into it.
I just put a tin over the freezer and refrigerator unit. Good times. Not
Does
good.
the new place have a split AC system?
3 ACs.
Wow.
3. For those of you who are just joining us on the call, this is the last live broadcast we'll be doing from the current Marquee Mansion. We bought a house. It's a little bit of an upgrade. I mean, everything in San Diego, everything in California is expensive, but this is the last shot. We're moving in 2 weeks here, so we're going to be moving pretty close, and this will be a completely different background. It'll probably just be all white. Who knows? We'll see what goes on.
There's nothing wrong with an all-white background.
Just like Ashley here. No trophies. No, we're not going to. It's going to take a while to set everything up. Who knows? Now, I will tell you guys, you ladies and everyone on the call, you're going to get a kick out of this. My wife just immediately went to Jerome's and bought $10,000 in furniture. Didn't tell me. Just said, you know what? I think we need new furniture. Totally went and bought completely. Said, we got a bigger house. We have to fill it. And then she said,
like, yeah, girl.
Yeah, no problem. And then she came down and asked me, hey, do you want a new desk? And I'm like, no, I like my desk. I like my furniture. It's fine. I'm like, oh, well, I already bought you a new desk.
Right.
I'm like, fantastic. So good time. But again, happy wife, happy life.
Is it a fancy desk at least? Is it like a stand-up desk?
Oh, no, absolutely not, because then I have to stand up. So no, well, I'm not a fan of that.
I think we should all chip in. We should all chip in and get you a treadmill desk.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely what
I've
I do not
always wanted
need.
one of those. I want them
I'll
so
take
badly.
one.
I'm happy to get you one, and then I can throw food at you.
And the bicycle ones, Arson, you can get the bicycle ones where you cycle at your desk and you'll be typing like this.
No.
But yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. So we'll see how it goes. And we celebrate 21 years tomorrow. So if she wants to consider that furniture her anniversary gift, otherwise for 21 years, we just found this out, folks. The anniversary gift is nickel. So I don't think I want to give her a bag of nickels. I think we'll just call it even on the furniture and go from there. So we'll see how that goes.
Everyone benefits from the furniture.
Yeah.
I feel like it.
She's gonna beat you up, you know that, right?
Yeah, but she's gonna watch this on replay.
I was gonna say he's safe. She's never gonna watch this.
Right.
There's no way.
She's like, Casey, who? What do you do for a
watch
living?
the first 5 minutes. This important part.
That's it.
Yeah. Which we're 5 minutes in. There's still some people rolling in, but we have a ton to cover today. So we're gonna get started. Welcome everybody to our 12th episode of SEO for Publishers. We've officially been doing this thing for a year now, every month with everyone's favorite panelists, Casey Marquis, Arsen Rabinovich, and Andrew Wilder. But of course, today's going to be extra special. We have a lot of prizes to give away. So everyone who registered is getting a free 30-day trial of SEMrush Pro, which I'll be emailing everybody the details. You'll get a unique code, and then you'll be able to log into SEMrush and get a trial of their Pro feature. We're also giving away Casey face pillows.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Okay, this is the first time I've actually seen this live.
What
I
do
can
we
tell you right
think?
now, wow, this is crazy.
Can I buy one? Can I just buy one?
I just want to apologize
Not
to
for
anyone who
sale.
wins the Casey pillow. I don't know, if you want to. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who would love to do crazy things to that pillow.
Oh,
And I'm
two-sided.
too excited.
Two-sided.
Look at this.
Oh, he's
Two
two-faced.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it's very soft. It's a microfiber, so it's a very soft
Ooh.
It
texture.
is.
Ooh,
Smooth
I
as a
can wipe
baby's
my
butt.
glasses
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah. Guys
Just
ordered
like
a lot of those.
Rub our faces together.
Yes.
My,
yes.
my wife not enthused about that. Trust me. I said, hey, Ashley and Arson decided to order a couple of face pillows, and wife did not see the allure. So
Let's send her
I'm
a
gonna
few.
pass it along. She
Yes.
she didn't see the allure of that. So just
You know
gonna
what?
say.
For our 2-year anniversary, we need to have a full-size, life-size Casey cutout.
Oh my gosh. Do they make cardboard that wide? Do they make
We
cardboard
will
that
make
wide?
it. I will invest money into this.
All right.
I'll put a note.
Good.
But don't worry, that's not where the prize is in. We're also giving away Amazon gift cards. We're giving away a ticket to Tastemaker Conference, which takes place March 3rd and 4th in Chicago. It's a 2-day conference.
It's gonna be
The
awesome.
registration also includes, by registering for that one, it also includes a ticket to the September virtual Tastemaker that you can do from your home. And you'll get a media badge to the Inspired Home Show in Chicago, which takes place right after Tastemakers on March 5th through 8th. So tickets are $579, and one lucky winner will get all of those. There's also 6 months of hosting on the Big Scoot starter plan, and of course a free migration, and 1 free year of the Feast plugin. So I'm going to copy over a handy dandy link that SEMrush also gave us of a bunch of content resources that they wanted to share with you all. And it'll take me a second because the copy and paste isn't working, but that'll get over there. And I'll also share over Tastemaker's link if you're interested in their virtual, and I'll share more details afterwards. But we're super excited to give out all these prizes to you guys, and to be able to have done a year's worth of episode and to have all of you guys supporting and tuning in and registering month to month. We definitely appreciate it. So the way we're going to give these prizes out is every time one of these lovely panelists say it depends, will be a little buzzer and someone will get a prize. We have a random prize drawer thing that will automatically input all of you guys and say who wins the prize. Aside from that, at the very end, we're going to have Q&A like normal. And then after Q&A is the grand prize pack to one lucky attendee. The grand prize is a 1-hour Skype consultation with Casey, a Casey face pillow, and an Amazon gift card. So definitely the best of the best things.
Wow. I'm not sure that face pillow is a grand prize, but it will be memorable, to say the least.
Yeah.
Good times.
I so want one right now.
Good times.
I'll take it on airplanes with me when I travel to speak at conferences.
Oh, no.
You know what? That's fine. You film it. We're going to start a site and see where the face pillow travels. It's like that Velocity Travel Gnome. Remember the Velocity Travel Gnome?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Casey's
yeah.
head. Only Casey's head. You got to take a photo all over the world as you go into the Leaning Tower of Pisa and the like. Yeah. Genius.
Love it.
Genius.
Love it.
Yeah.
We will make this happen.
As far as the agenda, today we're going to be going over the most commonly asked questions over the past year and dive even deeper into them. So we've covered a lot of topics over the past year, but we're going to be jumping from topic to topic, covering as many publisher optimization tips as we can. But definitely, if you have a question that we're not addressing, put it into the Q&A. As always, a week from now, we'll be publishing the recap, and the recap will have all the answers to the Q&A, whether we were able to get to them live or not. And they'll also have the transcripts, the replay of this, and whatnot. But if you want a chance to get the grand prize, you do have to stick around for the whole thing, of course.
That's how we get you.
Yes, we get you to stay. Definitely stay. Do we have to be on the call still to win? I have to
come
leave
see the fellow?
early.
We're turning it into a class dance.
Hey, my wife just walked in. You want to share the pillow? Ash, come on over here.
Happily.
She just got done riding equestrian today, so let's see what we got here. There it is.
It's going to be a flat Stanley game.
Oh my gosh.
So we're going to
not
take
good.
it and like make it a flat Stanley.
No, I don't think they can hear me.
It needs to be on a stick though. Can you hear me? Can they hear
We
me?
can hear you. We can
Can you
hear
hear
you.
me now?
Oh, yeah.
Can you
Oh,
hear me
yeah.
now? So yeah, very funny. We're gonna do
By
a
the
whole
way,
site.
I
We're
just
gonna do a
heard
whole site.
everything he said about me because I was right upstairs and
Yeah.
our house is quiet. So I appreciate the $10,000 worth of furniture for our anniversary.
Yes, yeah, and that's what you're
There
gonna
you go.
get. It's
There you
better
go.
than nickel. You saw it was nickel, right?
Yeah, this is way better.
Tiffany's gonna beat him
Nickel.
up later.
Yeah. You
Well,
know what?
it's
It's worth
Wednesday.
it because I have to keep up with him. So
Yeah.
I have to put up with him for 21 years.
21.
True.
I get extra credit for that.
It's dog years for her.
It
So
is
she's been married for like 85 years.
3. Actually, it's 3.
See you later.
Bye, Tiff.
Bye.
Arson, we got to get a ride in before it gets too hot.
In 2 more weeks, I'm coming down.
All right.
Okay.
All right. All prizes aside, to answer, you do not have to be present for the it depends prizes, but for the grand prize, you do have to be present in order to win that. If you are the chosen person, if you're the winner, then you will get an email with the prize details and whatnot. So I will chat you privately to make sure and get all of your information and get the prize over to you. Now, without further ado, let's get to the questions. Arson, you're kicking it off. So in the past year, not only was there a lovely pandemic, but there are tons of updates from Google. Literally, my eye just twitched when I said that. Not stressful at all. But we'll
It's
talk
fine.
about the, yeah, it's fine. We'll talk about the most recent, the June update later. But for now, can you explain how to tell if your site has been affected by an update or even penalized by Google?
Right. So you'll never be like penalized by Google through an update, right? If Google never will come around and say, you suck at SEO and you don't deserve to be at the top of page 1. Google will just say, there's somebody else who does a better job than you at answering this query, right? And they're going to move them up, and the byproduct of that is you moving down, right? So if you're noticing fluctuations and the things that we look for, especially with our clients at top at rank, we're looking at, the first thing we're looking at is, has your traffic been affected, right? Traffic and conversions, because keywords will fluctuate, but keep in mind your keywords do not correlate to traffic, because you can have 1 or 2 keywords that are sending majority of the traffic to that one post, but you can have 100 keywords that are sending very little traffic. So you can have fluctuation in keywords that are not sending traffic, or you can have a drop in keywords that are not relevant to you or your site. And that's when Google actually does a good job with the update, and the update does what it's intended to do. It cleans up all the irrelevant keywords that you used to rank for. So the first thing you want to ask yourself is, has my traffic been affected? If you're monitoring your keywords and you're seeing a fluctuation in your keywords, that doesn't necessarily mean that your traffic will be affected. And then if your traffic is being affected, for those of you that rely, so a lot of you rely on just traffic for monetization, right? But those of you that rely on conversions, like you're selling a product, has this traffic impacted my conversions, right? Because you can have all of these things fluctuate in and out, up and down, without, you can have traffic fluctuate, but it won't affect your conversion. So it'd be traffic from words that were not very relevant. So definitely monitoring your analytics, monitoring your Search Console data is important to know if you've been affected by an update. But at the same time, I talk about this frequently, and I post it in our Facebook group. If you start seeing that you're being affected by an update or during an update, do not go in and start fixing things. Do not go in and start trying to figure out what it is. You want to wait for that rollout to happen completely. I actually just revisited with a client today, 30 minutes before this webinar, who got in touch with me as soon as the update started rolling out, saying that they have been affected and they're losing traffic, they're losing keyword rankings. And we just revisited a week later and it fluctuated back to where it was before. So definitely do not be reactive. Do not go in and start tinkering with things, because later when you do want to resolve it, or you retain me or Casey to help you resolve this, we will have to dig through so much more to figure it out, right? There's many more variables you're going to be adding by tinkering with your posts. But yeah, definitely watching how your site responds. And then there's different kinds of updates too, right? Because And we've kind of we've been talking about this for over a year, and even before that, right? These updates, other than Core Web Vitals, but even Core Web Vitals, right? We've been saying that speed is important, page experience is important, right? This is all the stuff that all of you should have been ready for. There's no reason for anybody here on this call to be affected by an update if you've been listening, paying attention, and doing what you need to be doing, right? If you're doing a good job at matching the query and the intent behind the query, if you're doing a good job at not over optimizing, keeping things clean, concise, you will see that you are much more resilient to these updates and don't fluctuate in and out. But this is nothing new, right? This is all of the stuff that we've been talking about. Don't over optimize, keep it concise, prioritize content to match the intent of the query. And those of you who have been doing it are sailing through this update right now.
And I would just add to that very quickly is that these updates take a while to roll out. The June core update, which started on June the 2nd, did not really complete until the 11th.
Right.
And now we have the page experience algorithm, which has gone live as of 12:35 Pacific time yesterday. So if that was news to anyone on the call, yeah, it's the page experience algorithm gone live yesterday. And so you're going to have to watch that, and it's going to take a while to roll out. Now, most people not going to notice anything from this. Vast majority of people, it's going to be, as we've spoken about it previously, this is probably going to be more of a tiebreaker kind of an issue. I wouldn't expect that you're going to worry much about it. But for those of you on the call who think you might have some issues with the June core update, and I can tell you, we've got a lot of false positives already, as Arsen and I can tell you, just be patient. Google is going to roll out another update in July. So it's very possible that when that rolls out, any effects on you that you thought were happening will be reversed completely. And if July rolls out and we're still seeing issues, or those issues are exaggerated, then at that time we can start doing a more deeper forensic dive and see what we see specifically.
Right. And I think Mueller said something along the lines of the page experience rollout is going to be 2 months, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Mid-August, I believe.
Right. Right. So hold on to your seats.
Arsen, just to clarify, because you mentioned it a few times and Keith pointed out, how often should you be checking? Should you be checking daily?
So look, you're definitely going to, if things are moving around drastically, you're definitely going to notice it, right? So you're going to notice it in your analytics. You're going to notice that whichever way you're looking, right? Whichever you're looking at analytics, you're looking at your Mediavine reporting, page views, right? All of this stuff, if it's affecting everything, if it's affecting your traffic, you're going to see it somewhere, right? I wouldn't be checking rankings very frequently because rankings will go up and down. Like I've been watching sites where on a daily basis, it's just like, it's moving up, it's moving down, it's moving up, it's moving down. And you're going to lose your mind tracking that, right? Look at what the bottom line is. What's closer to money for you, for publishers right now, it's traffic. Monitor your traffic.
There we go. Thank you for clarifying that. Andrew, when it comes to hosting, can web hosting have a negative effect on a site's ranking? And what exactly do you look for when you're trying to choose a hosting company and make sure it's the right fit for a site?
I really want to say it depends here, but it actually can. Like it's a simple, I can't do it.
Said it.
You did.
But you said it.
You said it.
Oh, that counts?
Yeah, that counts. You
said
it.
Came out of your mouth.
Everybody agrees.
Okay,
He said
that
it.
counts.
He said it. Look.
Okay, let me roll through.
All right, who's going to get the first prize here?
Okay, so the first prize is an Amazon gift card, and going through, all right, we have Andrea Jansen. I will type the name in the chat box.
Andrea Jansen, congratulations.
Raise your hand.
Yeah, there she goes. It's going over here. Oh, there she is. She's online. Yes.
Perfect.
Congratulations, Andrea.
Congratulations.
I will, the email that all of you registered with, whoever wins prizes, I will email you that to make sure and mail or send you your appropriate prize. But congrats.
Yay.
And Andrew,
So,
besides it depends, what's up with hosting?
so hosting actually definitely can have a negative effect on your site's rankings. Site speed.
Bluehost.
There's a bunch of things that can go wrong with hosting, right? But site speed is one of them. So if you're on a slow host and your site is slow to respond, that's going to affect your rankings. As we all know, site speed's been a factor in rankings in a long time. And for a long time and is only getting more important. Reliability, like if your site's actually not online all the time, things like that really do make a big difference. If you're on a host that doesn't have good security measures in place and your site gets hacked, that can also cause problems. If Google notices your site has malware, it's actually going to block you in the search results as well, not in addition to it being a colossal headache. Site security is important from a hosting level as well, not just the stuff you do on your own server, but to make sure that the server is configured properly. So a lot of really low-end cheap hosts may not have as many security measures in place to protect your site. As for what you want to look for in hosting, so speed, reliability, the host's reputation, I think, is important. Are they active in the community they're serving? Do they care about protecting their reputation? That's going to be a motivator for them to continue to do a good job, right? How is their customer support and customer service? Do they take 2 days to get back to you, or do they get back to you within 5 minutes? And I'll give a shout out to Big Scoots here, one of our sponsors today. It's rare that they don't reply to an email within about 5 minutes. We've actually gotten really spoiled as working with them. They do an amazing job with response time and helping solve problems. They bend over backwards to help solve really complicated problems that maybe even go beyond hosting. The other thing I suggest you look at is how much experience they have hosting sites similar to yours. Another reason we love Big Scoots for food bloggers is they host a lot of food blogs, so they understand
food blogs.
We're talking hundreds or thousands of food blogs probably at this point, and so they understand the unique, quirky needs of a food blog or a travel blog, right? Whereas a larger commodity host really doesn't care. So I think having them have experience in your specific site's architecture and other similar sites can really help. And finally, I'll put at the last on the list is price. Obviously, everybody's budget is different, but price is a factor. Another reason we love Big Scoots is because for what you get for the price, they blow everybody away. Yeah. And a lot of the larger managed WordPress hosts like WP Engine or Kinsta or Flywheel, all of those are pretty reasonably priced on the low end. But once you start to get a lot of traffic, it's exponential. And so they really gouge the higher traffic users. And so it might be good in the beginning, but then you end up paying for it later. So that's something to watch out for as well. Another thing that I think is interesting is to find out if they manage their own hardware or if they're just a reseller. Are they actually really in control of everything they're doing? Or are they beholden to another company? And if so, then you need to know that that company is good too, right? I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like Cloudways uses other underlying hosts. And so some of those might be better than others. So that's another sort of a more minor thing to consider, but I think all of those things. What I don't recommend you do is start with a host based on one other person's recommendation, even mine. So many people have anecdotal evidence based on their own experience with that one site. And I can tell you for every host, there are going to be a bunch of people who love them and a bunch of people who hate them. And so you don't want a sample size of 1 or 2. Right. I've worked now with all the major players, and so I have strong opinions based on my experience on many sites on many hosts, and that's why I keep coming back to Big Scoots and away from Bluehost or any of the other really inexpensive shared hosting providers. So you get what you pay for, and if it's $4 a month, you're probably not on good hosting.
And I would just add on to that very quickly, because we're getting a lot of questions I see submitted in the chat. There's a lot of herd mentality in the food and lifestyle niche, unfortunately. And sometimes even the best hosts go down. It happened today. How long was the outage today with Big Scoots, Andrew? What, couple hours? Was it that long?
No, it was about 20 minutes.
20 minutes. So 20 minutes. And, yeah, and they got it up and they let everyone know about it. And
as an example of that, so, I love working with Big Scoots because they're very similar to the way I run NerdPress, where we're a small group. We know each other's names. We know each other's sites. We actually now share a Slack channel with them. Yeah. And so all of our uptime monitoring was blowing up. By the time I clicked over to our Slack channel to ping Scott and ask what was going on, he already had posted saying, "We're on it. Give us a minute." Our communication was fantastic. And then we were able to convey to our clients. And stuff does break. Mm-hmm. So every host is going to have problems. And I think it's important people recognize that. What's really important is what the host does to fix it, how they respond, how they communicate, and what they do to prevent that problem from happening again.
Exactly. So, very important.
Right? Because it's technology.
Very important.
Yeah. I mean, Fastly went down, a week ago, 10 days ago, and brought down half the internet.
Right.
Oh
they had
my.
it fixed within an hour, which is pretty good. So I saw in the question about in the chat about Cloudways. Cloudways hosting is pretty good. Big Scoots is faster, I will say. But Cloudways support is just awful, unfortunately.
It's terrible. And it's not that we don't recommend Cloudways. We still do. I think the Linode, I have 2 sites still on the Linode server. I think they perform extremely well. But if you don't have a technical background, Cloudways is probably not for you, because you're not going to get a response to your queries. They're based in Cyprus. This customer service is not great. So, but if you're asking, is it bad? No, if you're doing just fine with Cloudways and you haven't gone down and your core web vitals are just fine, no problem. But if you need more of a white glove approach, if you want to be able to know the security of 24/7 support, if something goes wrong, you can email and have someone back to you based here in the US very quickly. That's Big Scoots. There's nothing wrong with some of the other hosts that have been put in this chat. I'm not as familiar with A2 hosting anymore, but I don't think that I think most of the A2 hosting is still shared hosting. So in that regard, it's going to be relatively low quality. So if you have a small amount of traffic, that might be okay. But the sooner, and I'm going to have Andrew clarify that, the soonest you can get to manage hosting, you should get to manage hosting, because there's a noticeable difference in the resource allocation there.
You did there. And I just want to remind everybody who has questions in the chat, if the panelists aren't able to get to them while they're addressing that specific subject, definitely put them over into the Q&A. There's no silly questions here. Always put them over into the Q&A and they will be addressed. Moving into backlinks, Casey, one of the best ways to help new content rank is to gain backlinks. So what are your favorite strategies for generating backlinks aside from the typical, well, create good content and naturally people will link to you? Like, ideally.
I love it. Well,
what else can we do?
First of all, for those of you on the call who have not had a chance to review, what number was that, Ashley? The SEO for Publishers, what was it? 10?
No, I think it was 9 or something. I'll pull it up right now. But
yeah,
pull it up. Let's go ahead and share that link over there, because I don't want to just redo what we covered there, because we covered that in detail. And so for those on the call who are still struggling with backlinks, that webinar is going to help you considerably. But I always tell bloggers specifically to look first regionally. That's what we want to do. We want to look for regional opportunities. I'm going to give you an example. I have a client, her name is Sabrina Curie. Sabrina might be on the call today, maybe she's not, but she's a Canadian blogger and her site is West Coast Kitchen Garden. And she has an audit scheduled in September, and she was just featured on the Food Bloggers of Canada site. And I know that that is an extremely great site, especially if you're a food blogger in Canada, but that didn't happen in a vacuum. She is a member and she reached out and she was featured. And that's what we're looking for when we're talking about trying to find opportunities for link building. You should be looking locally. You should be looking at regional opportunities where you're based. We covered a couple of those examples in the original link building webinar that we did months ago. But if we're looking at something that's going to set us apart, it'd be silly for me to paste over a list of directories or anything like that, because the minute we do that, then everyone's going to run and get your links in the directories. What we're looking for is for individualized link opportunities that you are going to pull together at your end. If you are a vegan blogger, one of the things you want to do is start using what are called Google Site Operator searches. You know, maybe you just put vegan recipes and you put site, you know, maybe you put a site directory in or something along those lines. We can actually paste a couple of those in the chat today and look at starting to find opportunities within the search results that maybe you can do some reaching out to and see what you see there. Link building is very tough. It's why Arson and Ashley specifically are getting bombarded with link building requests from food and lifestyle bloggers, because they've been able to cultivate a network that's very successful. But for those of you on the call who are looking,
don't say the N word.
Did I say
Don't
network?
say, it's not a network.
It is
not a network.
It's a fellowship of the links.
Right.
There's a movie. There's a movie coming out. There's a movie coming out. And link building is tough. We really have to go in and, you know, we don't want to use the old trope that you need great content, but that certainly helps. But I will tell you, what I will give you is I'm going to paste over a list here for recipe roundups. And there is a whole section of specific recipe roundups groups on Facebook where all the magic happens. I've just pasted them over into the chat to all of the bloggers there. This is where a majority of the roundup action happens online, these recipe roundup groups. So, you know, if you have a lot of great content, you really want to be like Jenny on the spot. Go into these roundup groups when someone's looking for something that they would fit in with the roundup they're doing. Drop your link in there. Nothing wrong with that. Or, you know, make sure that you work and network with other bloggers and find a way that you can work together to, you know, put quality content. Now, on that note, things like blog hops and Sunday supper themed link roundups and meatless Mondays, that stuff's dead. We can't do any of that stuff anymore. Where there's an organized focus between a large number of bloggers where all of them basically link to each other in a network kind of scheme, we can't have that. It's useless. Google ignores all those links. And then as we go through the audit, we basically have to no follow or delete all those from the site anyway. That kind of stuff has been dead for a while. But if you can cultivate some great resources where, you know, I always use the example of, if you go over to, I'm going to go ahead and paste this over. If you were to go to Google right now and type in meal prep recipes, this is Sarah from Dinner at the Zoo. She's been #1 forever. It's an extremely high quality piece of content. It has 120 linking root domains, has 200 plus inbound links. It ranks for thousands of keywords. It has literally been stuck #1 in Google for an extended period of time. Quality content is sticky. Quality content fulfills user intent. Quality content is detailed. And this is a great example. So enough of my rambling. We'll move along.
I want to add one thing about links too. You have to get creative, but also it helps to find those moments where, like, maybe somebody's referencing your site, but they didn't put a link in. Don't be afraid to ask for a link. I mean, ask nicely, but if you can find a natural connection there, don't miss that opportunity. Like, don't be afraid to say, hey, I'm so glad you mentioned me, but can you do me a favor and actually link to my page? Like, right. Some people don't know how to do that and realize they're supposed to do it. So that, don't miss that opportunity as well.
Yeah, and that's a very good point, because it's okay for you to ask for a link.
No.
That's fine. Right. They could say no. That's not illegal. If you're going to say, I'm going to link to you, and in return, I'm going to do this, then there is a consideration element, which, as Professor Rude in my Contracts 101 class will tell you, not great. Not great. So we're going to be aware of that specifically.
You can set up Google alerts for your brand and variations of your brand, which are free. Monitor those alerts whenever you're seeing that your brand, your site, you are being mentioned somewhere on the web. Check it out. If it's not linked, if your site's not being referenced, you can easily reach out to them. You can also do other tactics that we covered in that webinar. You can use, like, if you're really good at photography, you can start creating courses or advice that or resources that other people or other bloggers will share and link to. But yeah, definitely check out that webinar, episode number 9. We linked to it. There's definitely a lot of advice in there.
And for those who are trying to keep up with chat and all the links and everything that's going in there, the recap will have all of the links and resources mentioned, whether they're in chat or verbally mentioned. We'll have all of those in the blog post. So if you miss something, don't fear, you will see it later. Andrew, a couple months ago, we had an entire episode just on plugins, and I'm pretty sure it was your favorite one. But could you do a breakdown of how to perform a plugin audit and how often you should be auditing your plugins?
Sure. So, as the site owner, it's important that you understand at least the basics of how your site is set up and how it works. You don't necessarily need to know all the technical nitty-gritty of every single thing, but even just knowing what plugins are on your site, what they do, and what their function is, and whether or not you're using them is all really important. So basically, to do a plugin audit, all you need to do is look through your list of plugins. In your dashboard, click on plugins and view all. The first thing to do is look at your inactive plugins. You can probably just go ahead and delete those completely. You don't want to leave a lot of inactive plugins on your site. That actually can be a security risk. Just because it's inactive doesn't mean it's safe. So if you have inactive plugins, just get rid of those. And then go through the list and ask yourself, do I actually use this plugin, whatever the features are of this plugin? And then, do I need this plugin, right? Even if you use it, it may not be something you really need. Then if the answer to that, to both of those is yes, you go, okay, does this plugin cause any issues or problems on my site? Is it slowing my site down, for example? And then the last thing to ask really is, does this plugin overlap with any features of other plugins on my site? And then I guess if it's conflicting, if something's conflicting, they'll probably know, but you just kind of need to go through the list and say, hey, do I really need this? Is it still working? As far as how often to review your plugins, I gotta say, it depends.
Dun, dun, dun.
Again.
Looks like we're doing another prize.
but it really does depend this time. So
it's very accurate.
So
very accurate.
Actually, while you're
I don't think
picking
it's
the
fair
winner,
that Andrew gets to be the it depends guy.
Wow. It is funny.
This is the winner of
no.
That is what is up next.
Nice.
So
wow. Actually, while you're picking the winner, I'll just say real quick, basically anytime you change something on your site, if you're adding or removing a plugin, that's a great time to do your plugin audit. So I could say like every 3 months, but that's kind of arbitrary, because you could install the plugins and keep everything updated and everything's fine for 6 months because it's all working, or a year or 2. So it's really when you need to change anything, it's a great opportunity to review things.
And the winner of the Casey face pillow.
I tell you, I apologize in advance.
And I apologize in advance for anyone's name that I say incorrectly. Nisha Clark.
Oh my goodness.
Yay.
Yay.
Nisha Clark. Nisha Clark. Is she even on the call? Because if she is, and I am happy to give her an Amazon gift certificate instead of the pillow. Yeah, she's on the call.
She's on the call. You're not getting this pillow.
No.
Yay.
Nisha, okay.
Get one.
Thank you so much. Take good care of me. I appreciate it.
This Casey does not
put me in a nice, cool place, please, and keep me away from animals. I would appreciate it. Thank you.
She will. Arson, doing SEO audits over at Top Hat Rank, we see lots and lots of publisher sites that come in that are just way over optimized. Can you share some of the most common over optimization efforts that you've noticed and ways to over optimize your site if it is over optimized?
Over optimize.
De-optimize. I like
unoptimized.
Over optimized.
So I actually just saw a question, somebody in the say that they can't wait until we talk about keywords and headings. You're in luck. We're going to talk about keywords and headings right now. So look, a quick history on this. Before, a long time ago, we as SEOs figured out that if we stuff keywords into every single part of a website, we'll be able to rank. So we used to put the keyword in URL. We used to put the keyword in title. We used to put the keyword in meta keywords, in meta description, in all of the headings, in all of the alts. Everywhere I can stuff a keyword, I was stuffing keywords, even in the footer, in the sidebar, and it was working. But then we overdid it, and Google said, you can't have nice things anymore because you guys are abusing them. So Google started becoming smarter and smarter at understanding content. So all of these weird signals that we were trying to throw at Google by saying, even bold, in case you remember, bolding your keyword was a signal. Underlining it meant that this is important, right? None of that stuff worked, right? And over time, over years, with introduction of algorithm updates like Panda, was that 2008?
2012.
2012. Panda was 2012. This is where we started worrying about over optimization, right? Because Google came out and said, you are abusing this. We don't like this. We have figured out a better way of evaluating this page and its importance. So now everybody who's over optimizing, everybody who's stuffing keywords is just going to start being filtered out, not penalized, just filtered down, right? Because Google wants to show results that are easy to understand for human eye readers, right? And when you stuff keywords into content, into everything else, you're making this content very unappealing. It's going to be hard to read. Anyways, so over optimization is a bad thing. November 2019 happened, and a lot of bloggers, a lot of recipe bloggers, and we did a huge study on this, got hit. We had bloggers in our study that got beat up I think it was like 60-70% of their organic traffic just disappeared overnight, right? And when we started digging into it, it's like, there you have it. The folks that were over optimizing are now like 30, 60, 90. They're dropped down, and the folks that are keeping it concise, easy to read, easy to understand, are ranking up, right? So over optimization is a really bad thing. I'm still continuing to see it happen, and a lot of it is happening because you are chasing the green light inside of Yoast.
Yeah.
Because Yoast is telling you that you need to have a keyword here, and you need to have a keyword there, and the keyword here, right? And you're saying, okay, I'm going to put these keywords everywhere. But Yoast is just a suggestion. You should not follow it because it's just a check mark, right? It's if the keyword is here, then it's a green light, right? Don't chase that green light. Use screen readers, have somebody read your post to you out loud, read it out loud to a friend. If it sounds weird, it's going to be over optimized. You do not need to repeat your keyword in every heading. Your keyword should be in your H1. H1 is the most important heading on that page, especially for a blog, right? For a blog post, you should not have more than H1, more than one H1. That's the title of your post. Google understands this is the primary topic. The H2 is a child of the H1. It covers the subtopic. You don't need to reiterate to Google or to the human eye reader what this post is about. So if you have your keyword in H1, you don't need to repeat it in H2. Now, there are certain situations where, like, if you're answering a question, right? If you're answering a question and the keyword is in that question and you want to make that question into a heading, that's fine, right? We talked about, we had a whole episode about images, right? With a guest from Tastemaker Conference, right?
Right.
So we talked about this. Those alts, those titles, they should be describing what the image is. You should not be stuffing your keywords in there, right? Your anchor text, you should not be stuffing keywords. All of these places where Yoast wants you to put keywords are not necessarily needed, right? So absolutely. Questions, FAQs, all of that, right?
Yeah.
So you definitely want to make sure that you look at, and you can use tools like Webmaster Extension for Chrome, SEO Minion for Chrome, and we'll include these in the write-up, to look at your headings, to actually audit your headings and look at them, and they will highlight them for you and look at it. The other thing that I'm going to recommend, and this is my final thing on this topic, look at what's happening at the top of page 1 for the keyword that you want to rank for. And I'm going to repeat this over and over. And right now, this is the best advice. If you want to rank for potato soup or bacon potato soup or whatever kind of potato soup, perform that search and see who's ranking 1, 2, and 3. Look at their headings. Look at their content. Look at how they're prioritizing things. Because Google is at this point right now where it's looking at things from an intent perspective instead of how many times this keyword is being mentioned on the page. If you're satisfying the primary and secondary intent of that query, you are going to be ranking.
I know we've got a lot of questions on related to this in the chat. And so very briefly, one of the things to understand is that, again, it depends on the query that you're using with regards to what you're doing with the headings. And it's no bullshit, because actually, I bet if you go and you type in potato soup right now, you'll find that the top 5 results are horribly over optimized. And you know why? Because they're huge freaking sites. And the sites have so many off-site factors going into play, they're able to rank even though it's contrary to what we're telling you on the call today. Because even though they've totally over optimized every heading on the page with potato soup and bacon potato soup, I know because I made potato soup the other night, it's because they have literally thousands of individual linking root domains, and that'll overcome poor on-page optimization every time. So
for now,
Ashley,
Casey, so quick. Like I'll argue with you with this. So I'm watching these. I'm watching some of these queries for some of my clients, and you're absolutely right. The bigger players, because they're overwhelming that signal, right? Because
Exactly.
there's so many, right. It's overwhelming. But if you actually like clear that, right? If you look at like, okay, let's skip over all recipes. Let's skip over Food Network. Who is like an average blogger? Not an average, but just like a blogger, not a big site, right? That's there. Because like you have like topical depth, you have proper information architecture in these larger sites, right? There's just so much signal and it's overwhelming that Google's like, I'm going to bring this up here. But I am noticing that all recipes, Food Network, and all of these sites are slowly coming down, and bloggers are coming back up. And
I wish,
there's
I mean, that's
certain
great if it was true. I just haven't seen it, because I can tell you that all recipes is still literally dominating every query, and it's not going to
dominating,
happen
but it's not. It's
when you
not,
have 99,000 linking root domains.
right.
I know, and that's
right.
the thing. I mean, I can't tell you how many bloggers have emailed me, Arson, saying, "Man, Casey, I'm trying to get in the top 3 for this keyword, and
You
they're
have to
all
pick your-
and
you
they're
have to
all
pick your
huge
battles.
sites with
Absolutely,
over
right.
optimizing their headers. Should I do it?" I'm like, no. Over optimizing your headers is why you're number 5, or not over optimizing your headers is why you're number 5. But are you going to get to number 3? Nope.
So
Because it's not gonna happen.
the example I gave you yesterday when we were talking in the chat about fresh fig recipes, right? So if you look at that, all recipes is down at the bottom of page 1. It's happening. It's happening. Certain where the content is not addressing, again, the primary, secondary intent. Google is slowly. I'm not seeing it across a lot of queries, but for certain queries, I'm seeing that regular blogs are being pushed up over the other ones.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, I'm looking at the carousel right now, and hey, 2 audit clients right there.
Right.
2 audit clients right there. Good job. And I won't
Right.
pull attention to you, but one of you is on the call. And yeah, you've done a good job in dialing back your headings. I mean, it does work, but I know a lot of you are going to be like, I don't want to dial back my headings because I've got all these other big sites and they're all putting the keyword in all their headings, and so I must have to do that. No.
Right.
And that's what
Right.
I want you to understand, is that it's not apples to apples. And of course, this is why we're continually fighting with Yoast, because Yoast, of course, also wants you to have your keyword density at a minimum 3% for green. We don't recommend that ever. So
Right,
on that note, let's go back to Ashley. She's got a giveaway.
I've got a really good giveaway, and I've just been waiting to give this one away. So it's another Amazon gift card, and it's going to Caitlin Ryan.
Hey, Caitlin, congratulations.
Woohoo!
I mean, it's no face pillow, but I mean, it's okay.
Oh, I think those are going to be sold on Amazon for $24.99 very soon.
Yes, yeah.
That works out.
Maybe I could put the second kid through college with Casey face pillows. Fantastic. We'll have a glitter outline on them. Or remember those ones that are reversible? You put your hand by and the face disappears. You put your hand back and the face appears. Ooh.
Kelsey's college fun pillow.
Made out of those sequins. Yeah, the flip sequins.
Sequin. Yeah,
Yep.
the sequin pillows. There we go. Fantastic.
While we're talking about over optimization, I have one more question I want to dive into, Casey. How important is it to optimize a recipe card, and what does optimizing a recipe card actually look like?
It's a good question. And I want you to think of your recipe post and your recipe card as separate entities. And I know a lot of you on the call have heard that. I know there's a lot of audit clients on the call who've heard that repeatedly. And people overlook their recipe cards to their own dismay. We want to make sure that your recipe card has the most important information on the page when at all possible. If someone was just to print out the recipe card, would they have all the information they need to make this recipe perfectly, preferably the first time? And I always see this a lot is when we have an audit, one of the biggest issues I see with bloggers, even established bloggers, is that they treat the recipe card as kind of an item to check off. There's no detailed recipe notes. They haven't necessarily optimized the recipe card fully. We haven't enabled checklists, which millennials love the crap out of. They walk through the store and check off their ingredients on the recipe card, or maybe they haven't linked their recipe card to their author byline, which is a great same as entity classification that we want to provide to Google with semantically. But most importantly, it's those notes. Never publish a recipe where the recipe card does not have notes, because some people are just going to immediately go to that recipe card. They might print it out, be on their way. That's your chance to make sure that anything that is most important from the recipe post makes it to the recipe card, and simple things like I'm making a prime rib and understanding that you want to cut it with the grain or against the grain or whatever you need to do on that. Or maybe there's a very specific timing element that, hey, you want to make sure that you, this pie can only last so long out of the refrigerator or something along those lines. That's what notes are for. Notes are not there to write a novel. They're not there to reprint every FAQ or tip from the recipe post, but they're there to reaffirm the most important content. So if you've got a ton of notes, we're going to dial those back. We don't need a whole page. but maybe there's one or two specific FAQs that you know are very, very important. Maybe we make sure that those make it to the card. Users appreciate those tips. This is where you show your expertise. So definitely don't forget them.
Yes, please. As someone who needs to know how long something can be refrigerated or
exactly, yeah,
stay on the counter, I really appreciate that. Andrew, what are some of the best ways to optimize the images in a blog post? Is there like a certain strategy of how many images should be in a post, how they're laid out, the image size?
I'm going to
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Don't say it, Andrew.
I'm going to fall back on, think of your reader.
Oh,
so
very clever, very clever.
Oh my gosh.
Well, first of all, technically, we went, I don't remember which episode it was. I'm sure you have the link, Ashley. We talked about technical elements of images and how they should be optimized. So just as a quick recap of that, make sure you're exporting from your image editing program at 1200 pixels wide by however tall it needs to be. We recommend a 1200 by 1200 square image for featured images. When you export, make sure you set the JPEG quality to whatever you need in your editor to be about 200 to 300 kilobytes, give or take. It's going to vary based on what the image is, and more detail takes more kilobytes. And then when you add it to your posts, insert it full size. That way, the whole 1200 pixel wide image will be there and look great on desktop in like a 700 pixel wide area, give or take. And on mobile, it won't cause a problem because it'll handle the image source set in the background. So a smaller version will be served. So if you do it this way, you should not be triggering any of those warnings in page speed insights. But if you're over 1200 pixels wide, you're going to start having problems. We also have been recommending this for a few years at this size, and we haven't needed to scale up from there. I think it's going to be a long time till we need to. So this helps also future proof. So when you widen your sidebar, maybe from 700 to 800 pixels, it'll still look good. In terms of, and then I also recommend have Short Pixel or Imagify installed in WordPress, because that way it'll compress the images further after you upload them, and it'll compress all the thumbnails that are created. So that's really important because your full-size image may not be served to most of your visitors anyway, maybe only the thumbnail, because most people are on mobile and seeing the source set version. I also want to talk about WebP for a second. I still don't recommend WebP, although we're real close to changing over. And I know Mediavine is big on WebP and Trellis is all WebP right now. The thing is, there are still a lot of older Safari browsers that don't support it. That's changed. Newer Safari does. I think you have to be on iOS 14 or later. So there are a number of older visitors who won't be able to see WebP. And then if you want to implement it with a fallback for JPEG, it gets really complicated with caching. The other downside of having WebP and JPEG being served is you have to double all your images, and that can cause problems for storage space on your server. You might have to buy more space. It can cause problems with backups, and it just gets really complicated. And if your images are optimized really well with Short Pixel in lossy mode, that actually competes with WebP. And I think the difference is negligible there. We also use Cloudflare's Polish for our clients, and that actually handles WebP seamlessly in the background on the fly, where you're not messing with code. It just works perfectly based on the browser. So I really like the Cloudflare solution for WebP. Having said that, WordPress 5.8 is probably going to roll out native support for WebP, which means you can upload a WebP image directly into your WordPress media library rather than uploading JPEG and having it convert to WebP. So I think at that point, it may be the time to switch to 100% WebP for new images going forward. But you also want to take a look at your analytics and make sure your audience is going to be able to see that. Because if you have 3 or 4% of your audience who won't be seeing those images, that may not be worth it to you, or it may be worth it to you, right? But are you willing to take a 4% hit in traffic and revenue because your images aren't showing up for all those people? I don't know. That's up to you. But I just wanted to say WebP is the future, I think. So yeah. I'm not down on the format, but right now the implementation is really challenging. So it'll get better, but yeah. Oh, the other part of the question was like how to put images in your post. I like to see a big, beautiful lead photo at the top, right? Really pull the reader in and say, oh, this is beautiful. I want to make this. And then having process shots in the post. And then you can have another big, beautiful photo at the end, maybe. Casey, you're still nodding, right? This is still kind of the best practice.
Yeah, again, we tend to recommend, a nice featured image at the top. There's a question in here about whether that image should be 1200 by 1200. The 1200 by 1200 is mostly for the featured image that you're putting in the recipe card that you're uploading so that it's resized appropriately. The featured image at the top of the post could be 1200 by 1200, sure, or usually 1200 by 1600 or something like that. When we're talking about 1200 pixel images, 1200 pixel width is really what we're most important about, because 1200 pixel width is the minimum requirement for Google Discover. So a lot of people get confused by that. They upload images that are 1200 pixels height and not width, and then they're totally can't figure out what's going on because they didn't understand that there's two requirements there. We're not loading in 1200 pixel width height images. We're uploading 1200 pixel width images because that's what Google's looking for Discover consideration.
Thank you for clearing that, Casey. Casey, creating content is at the core of what publishers do, but how do you recommend identifying which pieces of published content that should be updated or to just get rid of them entirely? How do you identify that?
Well, it really comes down to content auditing. I'm going to go ahead and paste over a list of resources here that will cover this in more detail. Content auditing resources. And we have the SEO for Publishers number 10, optimizing your content. I had an eBlog Talk priorities for 2021 webinar earlier this year, and I've also got the Food Blogger Pro content auditing podcast from a couple years ago. And it goes over in detail a bucketing concept that I'd recommend. And what we're doing is we're pulling information, be it from analytics or Google Search Console. I usually prefer that we use Google Search Console because we know it's Google only traffic. And then we would go back and look at anywhere from 90 to 120 days of traffic and look and see all the traffic that doesn't have one click from Google, or maybe we make a predetermined amount. Maybe everything that has 10 or less clicks, we pop into a spreadsheet and we start looking through that content closely. And then what I do is I bucket the content. I look at it as bucket number one is content that I know I can keep. I can update it today, tomorrow, next week. There's no seasonality component. Salisbury steak, love Salisbury steak. My wife's she makes a very good Salisbury steak. We have it a lot. I can have that every day of the year. Bucket number two might be seasonal content. It would be something like hot cross buns for Easter. Well, we know maybe the reason that post is not performing well is that, I ran the report in August and clearly that post isn't supposed to really do anything until March and April. So I'd have to make a seasonal judgment on that. But maybe it is a post that it's a barbecue ribs and I just ran the report in May or June and it hasn't had a click in months. So there's clearly a problem with the content. Seasonal content is content that I'm going to identify and I'm either going to update and republish when it's seasonally appropriate, or I'm going to make a note now and update it now if it's seasonally appropriate. That's the first priority. Is we want to update, we want to focus on content auditing, content that's seasonally appropriate for our audience. Bucket number three might be content that we're looking at it now and we're like, I don't know what I was thinking. I uploaded this recipe that it's gravy covered spaghetti and I have 3 photos of the finished dish and there's no value to it. There's no search volume for it. Maybe I'm going to delete this. Maybe it doesn't fit into my current topical focus for recipes. Maybe it's an expired giveaway. Maybe it's a personal post. Maybe I have to determine whether I'm going to keep those content. Maybe if it's a personal post and I want to keep the photos, maybe I'm going to no index that so that it doesn't count against me specifically algorithmically with Google. But maybe it's another post where, you know what? I pulled the stats. It's not doing anything for me in Google, but I just looked at analytics and it's killing it on Pinterest. I'm going to no index that. I'm going to keep it on my site. The URL doesn't change. Nothing changes. I'm still going to get all the traffic from Pinterest, but it's now no index. So again, not counted against me with Google. Okay. Content auditing is very important. We have situations where we've had audits come to us. They've had literally thousands of posts, thousands of recipes. We've deleted 50, 60, 70% of them. Traffic has leaped forward. It's like removing the parking brake from the site. And that's because we've made it easier for Google to surface the higher quality content. It's very important. So review the resources we pasted there, and that'll help you considerably. Every site on this call can benefit from content auditing as a regular kind of a best practice, whether it's a quarterly review or whatnot.
Yes, which I always highly recommend auditing your content at least quarterly.
It depends.
Okay.
There we go.
I mean, it kind of does, I guess.
Totally depends.
Yeah, sure. Totally. Yeah. So
It totally
I guess that means
depends on
another prize.
how often you want a chance to win.
Oh,
Doesn't
shoot.
matter.
Now
It
we've
just-
got
it
2.
depends.
Oh, now we've got 3.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, one at a time, one at a time. And this one's a big one. This is all
Okay,
of the
whoa.
tickets to Tastemaker. This is to Tastemaker Chicago, virtual Tastemaker,
Oh my
and
gosh.
a media badge to the Inspired Home Show. Let me do the little reel.
All right.
And
Prize number
the
1.
winner is, let me paste it over, Wendy Faulkner.
Wendy.
Yay!
Wendy's going to join us in the Windy
Wendy.
City. Wendy,
Yay!
going to be in the Windy City. Good for you.
You just got a lot of cool Tastemaker prizes.
Congratulations,
So I will
Wendy.
connect you with the host of Tastemaker and make sure you get your tickets.
Is Wendy
to that.
on the
That's
call? We're
definitely
waiting here.
awesome.
We're waiting. We're waiting. We're
I
waiting.
hope,
We're
I
waiting.
hope.
She's not popped on yet. Wendy.
Oh,
There it is.
yay!
There she is.
Congratulations.
Fantastic, Wendy. And I promise to buy you a drink when you're in Chicago. Preferably the alcoholic variety. That's fine. But yeah, it'll be good. Better than the face pillow. So congratulations.
And for those interested in Tastemaker, here is the link to the Tastemaker conference. This is the waitlist for the Chicago, and you can also get the tickets to the virtual Tastemaker as well. So I highly recommend clicking on that link.
Kylie and Amy are both going to be there. Drinks for everyone. Nope. I'm going to say it right now. Anyone on the call who comes and finds me in Chicago, I will buy you a drink. Done.
Does that mean me? Because I'll be there too, Casey. So I'll
First of all, for
definitely
those of you
find
who don't,
for a
first of
drink.
all, those of you who don't know it, I buy all of Ashley's drinks. Okay. Also,
true.
I'm her designated drink taste tester, so that someone does
Yes.
not slip things into her drink.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not kidding. Good times.
Casey doesn't mind
Thank you,
getting
Casey.
roofied.
I don't mind slipping stuff into her drink, but that's just me. I'm the only one allowed to do that.
For Casey, it's just a muscle relaxant at this point.
I've talked to her husband about that. I'm totally allowed to do it, but I'm allowed to stop
True.
everyone else. It's fine.
It's true.
This is about
He
to go
appreciates you,
in a
Casey.
different direction.
Off the rails. Off the rails.
And
Off the rails.
Andrew, speaking of Core Web Vitals, can you explain what they are and how best to address them?
It depends. How much time do we have?
Oh,
5 minutes.
Amazing. Amazing. We just dropped another one. While you're answering, I'm going to spin the little raffle wheel.
Okay, so
Raffle will.
we've talked about Core Web Vitals a whole bunch, and we're running low on time. So this is the new page experience algorithm that's rolling out as of yesterday. It will actually roll out through the end of August. I think it's late August. It's even then it's going to be a minor ranking factor, just to warn you. But I actually was on the Food Blogger Pro podcast recently, and I was talking with Bjork, and we went through all of it. And actually how to understand the 3 metrics and how to do some stuff about them. So if you haven't dug into Core Web Vitals yet, I definitely recommend that. And I'm going to paste the link in to the chat. And also I was reading today, Mediavine's got a couple of good blog posts, and they have one actually from a couple months ago or a month ago. But at the end of it, they have a good checklist of things to look for. So I'm going to drop that in the chat as well. All right, Ashley, do we have a winner?
Yes. Yeah, just ran it, and it's an Amazon gift card to Sharon Rigsby. Yay!
Hey, Sharon.
Hey, Sharon. We know Sharon.
Nice.
Awesome.
Congratulations, Sharon. Good for you. Good for you. Let's see if she's on the call today.
I think she should be, hopefully. But speaking of Google things, we did a whole episode on Core Web Vitals. I'll drop the resource in there as well. But Google decided to release another core update at the beginning of this month, because why not start summer off with that? Arson, can you tell us what you know so far about this update and what the heck happened?
Which one?
The core
June
update on
1.
June the 2nd.
Oh, so what I'm noticing, it's big on query matching. I'm noticing that Google is becoming much more precise with understanding what the query is, and it's doing a much better job at picking what's the content type that answers that query. And again, you hear me say this over and over, even on our calls, addresses the primary and secondary intent what Google assumes the intent is behind that query, right? Google derives intent multiple ways. They do natural language processing, query syntax drives intent. So the example that I use on my calls on my consultation calls is if you search for best bikes for kids, Google understands the intent behind that query is to learn which is the best bike for my kid. So if you look at the result page, the top of the page is going to consist of posts that cover that topic in its entirety. They cover, and if you look at it, if you run like a headings analysis on those posts, right away at the top 10 bikes for kids, and then all of the secondary information is towards the bottom. How to fit the bike to the kid, best helmets, best brands for aggressive riders. The top 2 posts cover that topic in its entirety. Then underneath, Google on itself is doing the same thing it wants you to do in its search results. So the top, it's a kitchen sink result. The top is all the content about best bikes for kids. The bottom is where to buy bikes, right? Because it's addressing primary and secondary. Now that I've learned about best bikes, where do I buy them? Reverse that. Get rid of that best query modifier, right? Just search for bikes for kids. You're going to see that at the top, you have commercial purchase intent results. You have Walmart, you have Amazon, then you have a local pack, right? Google assumes that you want to walk into a store and buy a bike, right? So it's going to give you your local shops. And then underneath that, it's going to give you the same content, investigatory, educational, informational intent results that you saw on best bikes for kids. But now it's shuffled it around. It's showing you commercial intent at the top, and it's showing you informational, educational intent at the bottom, right? So the learning from that, and based on our observations, right, is the sites that are performing well right now, the sites that are winning in this update, are doing the exact same thing. You search for something. So like I spoke with a client yesterday. She used to rank for some weird kind of thing, was something, some kind of fig recipes, right? Recipes, right? Plural. And she got pushed down to the bottom of the page, right? While everybody who's at the top is showing multiple recipes, right? 23 recipes, 7 fig recipes. So Google is now doing a better job at understanding what the intent is, right? So it's going to bring up the results that better satisfy that intent. And this goes back to, if you've been affected, look at what Google is preferencing, what Google assumes is the intent behind the query, because that, and also some of these results, if you pull the data on the links referring domains, you will a lot of times, not sometimes, a lot of times see that some sites that have less referring domains pointing to them are beating the sites that have more referring domains. And why? Because they're doing a better job, again, at not only satisfying the query, but addressing the primary and secondary intent. If somebody's searching for potato soup recipe, my recipe page better right away show them that recipe. And then underneath, below the fold, is how to store it, alternative ingredients, what to serve it with, everything that's secondary. And when you start doing that, you're going to notice that you're blossoming and that you're becoming, again, more resilient to that. So from where I'm sitting, especially as it concerns a big chunk of our audience here, this is what I'm noticing from this update. And also it depends.
It depends. There you go.
Like we have another one. While I look for the winner, we are going to open up Q&A. We also have one more It Depends prize winner, and then we're going to announce the grand prize after Q&A. Thank you everyone for being patient. This is our annual episode, so it's definitely going to be longer than normal, but we're going to be wrapping up shortly. So if you haven't already put your question in the Q&A, we've got 28 of them so far. Definitely go put a question in the Q&A. These expert panelists will personally address them, and then we'll publish them in the recap. But for now, we have, let's see, one of the top questions is from Chrissy Carroll. Random question about posts where you're ranking for accurate keywords, but you're also ranking for keywords that don't exactly fit. For example, let's say I have a 10-week workout plan that's also ranking for a 9-week workout plan. Is it worth creating a new post specifically for 9-week workout plan, knowing that they're already ranking for a 10-week plan. Anyone take it away? I'm going to go choose a winner.
I would personally say no, because that's an inclusive keyword query. It'd be basically what you're telling me is that you'd also be comfortable creating an 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 workout plans to qualify or to target each of those individual queries. It's not worth it. Number one, I don't think there's enough traffic to justify that. And also, this is an example of an inclusive keyword matching. You could go in and just, maybe we just need to make a little bit of adjustments to this. Say, hey, if you like my 10-week workout plan, take a week away and you've got a 9-week workout plan or something like that. You literally don't have to do anything much on the page. You could even build in external links using the anchor text, 9-week workout plan, 8-week workout plan, 6-week workout plan. And no joke, you'd start ranking for those because those are external signals to Google that this content matches. So that is honestly better for you. I would not invest in multiple resources at this point.
I agree 100% with this. Like everything that Casey said, which is rare for me to agree 100%.
Very rare, very rare. Checks in the mail.
100%. So the internal linking, the contextual signal that you pass through the link through that anchor text is very strong, especially internally, right? Because it informs Google what topics are being covered on that particular page, right? Definitely page level optimization. And remember, passages, right? So Google is not only evaluating the page as a whole, Google is also looking at individual passages within that document, right? To see if any of those individual passages are satisfying specific queries, right? So definitely do not create another, well, not definitely, I wouldn't recommend, and Casey wouldn't recommend creating another document because A, you might dilute the overall focus. You might create internal competition if that even exists. Now we're kind of like all over the place with this, but definitely do not. I wouldn't create a second piece of content for that.
Perfect. Thank you both for clarifying that. So the winner of 6 months of hosting on the Big Scoot starter plan, and of course, the free migration is Aaron Randhawa. I'm so sorry.
Aaron, okay, fantastic.
Putting it in there.
Yay.
Congratulations,
Aaron. Good for you, Aaron. Fantastic.
So we have one more It Depends prize, and we're going to do one more Q&A. Wonder how this is going to go. From top question from Amy Katz. Since my keyword is in my title, do I need to repeat it in the meta description / first sentence of my post if it's already in the title?
If it makes sense to do so, absolutely. You're writing a complete post. No,
so, yeah,
it's just common sense, Amy.
Avoiding saying it.
Yeah. I'm not going to say it.
I'm holding back.
Not going to say it. You're not going to say it either, Arson.
I'm going to say,
Amy, this is not a you know what question. No, this is a 100%.
She set us up. Amy's too smart for this.
No, Amy, you need to do it. You always repeat it. Always.
Google's just going to rewrite the meta description in the search results anyway. So
there you go.
Right.
So focus on that first sentence. Focus on that first sentence. Absolutely.
We're on to you, Amy. We're on to you.
Okay, one more question. And this is from Amy Ingerberson. There we go. Can't speak. I understand we shouldn't copy and paste the same information like recipe tips and instructions from the body of posts into the recipe card. What information should be added in the post versus in the recipe card so I don't duplicate the content?
Yeah.
Boom.
I'm gonna jump in on this one. The recipe card should contain the recipe, how to make the dish, right? Picture the recipe in a cookbook. And somebody should be able to print that out and take it to their kitchen and make the recipe. So the stuff that's outside of the recipe card is all the other stuff, right? That's like the history of potato soup, maybe, or like how to pick the right kind of potatoes for a potato soup, right? That other stuff, right?
Yeah, and I just want to make sure that everyone on the call understands that duplicate content is a between pages issue.
Right.
It is. You're not going to worry ever, Amy, taking some content from the post and put it in the recipe card, especially if they're very important tips.
Right.
Maybe there's 2 really important tips in the recipe post that absolutely 100% always should make it into under notes. You put it in there. It's okay. You're going to copy them. You're going to paste them in under notes. It's a myth that you have to rewrite everything in the recipe card. Completely 100% not true, because duplicate content is only a between pages issue. I could literally go into your post and have a paragraph and have the same paragraph 4 times. I'm not going to get penalized from Google for that. It's going to be very poor for users, but I'm not going
Right,
to get
so-
penalized by Google.
Let me hop in here for a second. So I wouldn't say repeating the same paragraph 4 times is not gonna like damage you, right? So there is content doubling, which we see happen with improper like CSS, mobile CSS. So you have like heading that's showing up twice on the page, right? Your H1 is showing up twice, your H2 is showing up twice, your in some, I haven't seen paragraphs show up twice. But when fixed, we do see improvements from that, right? So I wouldn't necessarily say that you're not going to get penalized, but maybe from a absolutely from a user experience standpoint, it does bring down the overall quality of that post, right? Or it might potentially dilute the overall focus of that post if you're repeating the same paragraphs over and over. But content doubling is definitely like, if your headings, if you remove the CSS from your post, and you can do that with the web developer, I might be going way too far into this, but if you remove CSS from your page with the tool, you can see if your headings are doubling. Those of you that are on Skylar's theme, you definitely don't have to worry about this, but I've definitely seen this in some cheaper, premium, or free themes that are like by some weird designer somewhere. But it does happen.
You know, I saw Kathleen asked in the chat, what about notes in the card? And I think to use the potato soup example, you might want to have in the notes, I recommend russet potatoes, but fingerlings are also great. Something really short and sweet, just to help guide them as they're writing the recipe, right? But then if you want in the post, you could talk about why russets are better. And I'm totally making that up. I could be wrong. Maybe Yukon Gold is the way to go, but.
Definitely.
Potato is potato.
Oh, no.
Potato whisper.
Oh, no.
Potato.
In Soviet Russia, we have one potato.
Would you say that when it comes to potatoes?
It depends.
There we go. And the final winner. This is the 1 free year of the Feast plugin. Let me spin. And we have Tony Dash.
Tony Dash, congratulations. Hopefully you're still on the call.
Congratulations. Yes. Okay.
There she
that
is,
wraps it
Tony
up.
Dash. Good for you, Tony.
Woo!
Yay.
Congrats.
We know Tony well. Congratulations.
And thank you, Skylar, for
wraps
donating
up
that.
our Q&A.
Thank you, Skylar, for
thank you,
donating that.
Skylar.
Thank you.
Thank you to all of our sponsors for donating everything today, and thank you everyone for tuning in. The Q&A, you still have a second. If there's a question that you want us to address that we haven't, drop it in there. Meanwhile, I will be spinning for the grand prize with once again is a 1-hour consultation with Casey.
Can I win this?
Casey
You can win it, and we're only going to talk about
Amazon
Russian
gift card.
vegetables. I'm going to talk about my 2 trips to Russia. No,
We
4
only
trips
have
to
one
Russia.
vegetable in Russia. And it's a
Potato, and I had a lot of it.
For the entire village.
Right.
Yeah, I tell you, that train ride, I'm still remembering. To Kirov, 12 hours. Wow.
Oh,
no,
man.
thank you.
On the Russian train.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Man.
Made out of
Sweating.
potato.
Winner.
I'm sweating thinking about it.
We have a winner. We have a winner. We have a
Who
winner
is it?
for the grand prize. And the winner is Gina Dixon.
Gina Dixon. Gina Dixon,
Congratulations.
fantastic. Good job, Gina. And again, I am so sorry. I hope my face pillow is, I hope you are a good home. I hope that you're giving it a good home, maybe free of pets, something along those lines.
Those of you that are getting
Gina's still here?
Casey's
She pops
face
in.
pillow. Those
Yes,
of you that are getting
Gina's
Casey's
here.
face pillow,
Yay.
Thank you,
Perfect.
Take a
Yippee.
picture.
Okay, Gina. All right.
please take a picture and send it to us so we can see where Casey's face pillow lives. in your
Everyone
house.
take a picture with your Casey pillow, and we'll put them up on a site. Where is Casey's pillow today? Where's the Casey's today? It's going to be
We
good.
will definitely need that information.
Put like
And-
a bowl of fruit in front of him.
Yep.
Yeah, a bowl of
That'll be
fruit.
helpful.
That's fine.
Not
That's all
fruit.
good.
Not fruit. Bacon.
Yeah, maybe
and candy
bacon,
corn.
bacon and candy corn. You know, that's again,
Which will
that's
definitely
the
help
breakfast
them.
of champions right there. Candy
And
corn
as
and bacon.
we wrap up, just want to thank our sponsors one more time: SEMrush, Tastemakers, Big Scoots, and Feast Plugin. Especially Tastemaker. If you guys are not familiar with Tastemaker, I highly recommend clicking on the link and going and checking it out. Lots of great content there. And it's not just because we're all going to be speakers there, but because it's great content specifically for publishers. So definitely check them out. Next week, we will send out an email to everybody who registered with your unique code to get 30-day free trial of SEMrush. Everybody who won their prizes, I'll also be emailing you individually to get your address and send you all of the goodies. Otherwise, thank you so much for tuning in for a year with us.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be even bigger
Fantastic.
next year. Perfect.
Thank you,
Take care,
everyone.
everybody.
We'll see you
Thank
again soon.
you.